And I'd like to introduce Lynne and Robin. All the money is going to go to a charity, and I'll let them speak about it a bit more. But Lynne Hazelden is what I call, she's a sort of local superwoman, really. Remarkable lady. She's done so much work for charity, Peace One Day. Again, I'll speak about this a bit more. And she spent most of her life helping other people, and now she needs some help. So this is why this is happening, and this is why we're donating the money to her. So I'd like to welcome Lynne and Robin.
Hello everybody. Hi. And I'm going to have to look at you straight in the face. I've been avoiding it. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've had the most extraordinary life. Probably a life that you might dream of. From working on film and television, I was in Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and The Meaning of Life, and The Birth of the Baby and the Machine That Goes Ping. And I've also worked on staff at the Hunger Project for a while, which is about ending hunger at a global level. I spent probably 20 years training. It's whistling a little bit, should I move away? I spent about 20 years training in, some of you I think know transformational technologies, and brought courses for children in my spare time to this country that inspire them to think for themselves and take personal responsibility and create the life they love. And I've been backpacking and all sorts of stuff. And it was all going very nicely until I had an allergic reaction to my fillings. And I don't know if anybody else here has sort of had a concern about mercury. Yeah. Just recently, the European Council, this is news, has passed a resolution to take it out of society and particularly out of fillings. And so this is going to ripple out in the next few years. And they list a whole bunch of research of symptoms of what possibly could happen. All I can say is that it all happened to me. I'm like the proverbial canary. It started from my mouth, came out of my face, went through my body. Ulcers and lesions and all sorts of stuff, pus coming out of my head. And whilst Guy's Hospital sort of rolled their eyes at me first, they said nobody's allergic. This is in 1995. I had a biopsy, and then I had to ask them, force them to patch test me. I said, look, I'm emotionally attached to having these out because it was difficult to talk and stuff. And so they rolled the eyes. I've never seen anyone do the triple eye roll. Have you? This woman, she's mad. What's the matter with you? And I was totally intimidated, but I was in such bad shape. They did it. They put 60 patches on my back for 48 hours. I went back, they took them off, and when they revealed the reaction, they said, we eat humble pie. We have never seen anyone so allergic to mercury and amalgam. Of course you can have them out. And then they left me with a bit of paper, which was like a prescription. And I took this piece of paper to all the dentists and everything. I couldn't find anyone to do it. Suffice to say, it was a year I was left. And between 95, when I had the biopsy done, and by the time I had the patch test done, they had a student take them out, and it all went in. So between 95 and before I had the patch test, so I was beginning to get very ill. In that year, I was still working in film and television, having the best time. I was working as a regular on Holby City, and The Bill, and Judge John Dean. I was loving my life, driving up and down the motorway. And gradually I started having to sleep on the motorway, it's not on driving. I'd have to pull off and go to sleep at 6 o'clock in the morning, leave early, go to the job. We used to work sort of 16-hour days, drive back an hour and 45 minutes and sleep. And what happened was, in the end, I found a legal clause where they had to help me, and they took them out. Whilst they were taking them out, something went pop in my head, and then I was left dribbling in bed for about 3 years. I wasn't really present. I didn't even know the Queen Mother had died. However, I took antibiotics and various different things. There was patches where I was up and about. When I go out, like now, I can seem pretty normal. But it did damage to mitochondria, which is the ATP energy. So then they labelled me with ME. And of course, gradually now I've ended up with cancer. And last year I took the decision to have a mastectomy. I call it my bionic boob. They did rebuild it very well, and it was very beautiful, with the idea that I don't think it's smart for me to go through radiotherapy and chemotherapy, because I also have similar reactions to chemicals. And so, having gone through the last 10 years of constantly talking to my doctors, dealing with my well-being, and they're apologising afterwards. I mean, I cannot tell you, over and over again, I say, look, I don't think this is good. I do it, they go, oh, we didn't realise anyone could have that kind of reaction. I'm not in a position now where I can do this, because many people do die from the actual treatments for cancer. I just don't think I'm going to win. My NHS surgeon supports me, and oncologists, and I'm going to go to Israel, and we'll talk more about that later in the break, but I just want to hand over to Robin. Oh, he's got his own.
Hello? Yes. Hi there. Yeah, I'm Robin. I've come here on behalf of Yes to Life, which is the banners up there.
You're supporting me.
And yeah, that's why I'm here, because Yes to Life is set up to support people like Lynne. She's quite an unusual situation in many ways, but in one way she's not an unusual situation at all, which is, as you know, nobody here needs to know that cancer's a raging epidemic in this country. The incidence of cancer is still going up relentlessly, and they don't have all the answers. We all know that. And in fact, in Britain, we're notably bad at not having the answers. Now, I've come to this through my own personal route. I set up Yes to Life 7 years ago, I think, and I had a daughter who had cancer 3 times. And the last time she had cancer, it was quite clear that we'd run out of anything that was likely to help her through our own NHS. So I started doing the job then of trying to find out, what could help her. And I found out that it's an extraordinarily difficult job. It's not that there isn't anything out there, there's a lot out there, but finding out the things that are actually not a hoax, they're for real, that you can afford them, that they're available, they're in this country, that are relevant to your type of cancer, your stage, all the rest of it. It's months and months and months of work. And there's nobody out there to help you to do it. All the people who are out there advertising their wares, they're in business, so they're trying to sell something, so you actually don't know who to trust. So it was quite clear while my daughter was still alive that what was needed was something that was there only for the people who had cancer, and the obvious vehicle for that is a charity. And so we planned to set one up. And at that time we were fundraising for my daughter, because in just the same way as Lynne is fundraising now. Very sadly, she died very suddenly before we'd really even started to spend the money on her treatment. And so we used the money to set up the charity, basically. And now we run a helpline, and we're regularly helping people who, for one reason or another, either the options that they're offered through the NHS are not enough, and they realise there's actually much more that they can do to empower themselves, to help themselves to get well and to stay well, or there simply isn't anything on the NHS and they need to look elsewhere, as Lynne is. So that summarises what we do, and we're going to have a little opportunity later on. I think that I imagine some of you might have a few questions, want to talk about it a little bit, so I thought it might be nice later on to do that.
We can share about some kind of choices that you can have now through nutritional functional medicine that really reduces side effects for people who are having treatment now with the current standard stuff. And I'll talk about why I'm going to Israel, what they do there, and also we can have a question and answer with Robin. But just briefly wanted to say hello and thank you. Thank you from my heart.
Yeah, it's great.
Really, it's probably the one thing I never want to do. I don't think any of us want to do, is to ask for yourself. It's easy asking for somebody else. And this has taken a lot of soul searching I've got the Peace Initiative, which I've done from bed for 10 years, or laying down mostly. And now I've had to get past my resistance to my thought processes about begging and the humiliation. I've had people write to me and said, how could you even do this? Has anybody seen the video? I think somebody said they had. I'm doing a video blog, and I stopped doing that all of a sudden. I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, but you know what? I've got to do it. And on the way, I really want to help everybody else. I'm that kind of human being. I want to share about what's possible now for you, the people who are affected by cancer in your life, so you have that information. You don't have to search for it, and about the extraordinary things that are happening in the world that we want to bring here, that we should have here, and with everyone's help, if we work together, we can speed it up. It's happening in the NHS trials, but we need to speed this up. It's taking too long. So we'll talk to you later if you have any questions. Sort of later on, we'll talk a little bit further about the details. We want to get on with the music. Woohoo! That's great. I know you're here for the music, and so I really appreciate that you're even taking any time to sort of listen to what I've got to say, but I'm passionate about this because I know I'm talking about something that everybody has been affected by in some way. They know someone, or personally, or they've had it themselves, and we are in the dark ages from my point of view in the UK, having done so much to find out to help myself, because I've had to find the kind of choices. I've come across like a new future for everyone. So whilst I'm here, talking about myself, and I really do need help, I'm like an ambassador of good news. So I want you to put aside the tragedy. My own mother died, my stepmother's just died, my cat's got cancer. It seems to be everywhere. And you know what? There's so much good news, and that's really what I want to bring to you. But it's going to take everybody to really share about it, and there's things you can do for people in your life now that will really make a profound difference and help them. And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about that, but I want to talk about why I'm going to Israel and what they can do there. On my journey of toxicity and the dramatic effects, and funny enough, I've hidden it most of my life, the last 10 years, when this effect of the mercury amalgam. I know that functional nutritional medicine works. This is regardless of cancer. This is if you're any kind of well-being issues, whether it's a disease, illness, or you're under the weather. There's something on telly, I think Robin can tell you a bit more about, which is Food Hospital. Has anybody seen that? Yeah, they're going, goodness gracious me, if you put the right ingredients in your body can get well. And I know it works because when I was in that bed for 3 years, and I'm talking about dribbling, I'm talking about not conscious, and I got labelled with ME. And the thing about ME, quite a lot of people have the most awful lives. And I hope if there's anyone in your life that has ME, that you open your heart and actually listen and don't think they're just being lazy, because it's horrific. And apart from being labelled with ME, it just leaves you in a place of hopelessness and powerlessness. You lose your power. And when I start taking these functional nutritional supplements, and I'm talking about fish oils and selenium and things that you're familiar with, vitamin D, and you put it in a package together in a way that really supports the immune system in the body, it's like night and day. And I've actually got some pictures over there of me last year, because I actually couldn't afford the supplements, and I started passing out again 5 hours a day, so I need those supplements. And I'm very lucky because a charity stepped in who works with Robin, who's now didn't have the funding to continue, but now can help me again. He sends me, it costs £300 a month. But I looked all over the country for help when I got cancer for these supplements, because I knew that as part of why I went further down this route. And I couldn't find any charity apart from Robin's charity, that would give me money towards these supplements that literally for me is like night and day. I don't know where I am. I'm in the garden looking for slow worms. I found myself one day, I lost my car for a week. I leave the gas on and I literally can't get out of bed, and I have pain all through my body with lactic acid. So these complementary medicines work. So if you have anyone in your life, or even well-being issues yourself, really do investigate it. And if you have cancer and problems, then you can actually go to Yes to Life and make a request. They can't pay for the whole amount, and if they have the funds, they will help with this. And we know someone who is working with me who can really help you with any illness. So here I am. I've got diagnosed with cancer again, and I've just had surgery, and I had the lump removed, and it turns out it's in the lymphs, and it's not good news. And I have to go back in 23rd of December. So I really do need this treatment. So I'm not talking about I feel better. I do need it, and I know that when people ask for money, I was thinking about this for myself. You don't want to give some money that's precious to you unless you know it's actually going to make a difference. And so I want to talk to you about Israel. I found out about Israel through the functional medicine person that I'm working with, and who's been helping me. I was originally going to go to America, and so there's different levels. So you can do the nutritional medicine now for anyone who's in this country. It will support your body such that you not just reduce the side effects, but you can actually be more successful in the treatments, because your body can deal with it. And I can't talk in depth about that, but Robin knows a little bit more about that. But outside of the UK, what I initially started to do was I applied to a few places where they do gene-targeted therapies. They scan 24,000 of your genes, and they can pinpoint your cancer, and you can have about 25% of the chemotherapy that we have over here. So people continue going to work and are not affected by the treatments. And in Israel, it turns out that they actually cure people. And I want to say that again, in Israel, they actually are curing people. Now, nobody can promise 100% that you're going to live. You know, I mean, it's silly. Even if you do have, illnesses, everybody dies. But they're also working with Parkinson's, MS, and many other things. I've got a list of things on the table if you're interested. And the difference is this, from what I understand from talking to my specialist in London, is that radiotherapy and chemotherapy kills everything. And we hone it in a little bit here, and then outside the UK, they hone it in very much more precisely. But even if you do that, you don't kill the stem cells, the cancer stem cells. And in Israel, this guy, he's internationally known. He's part of the European Commission for Research. I've got his CV up there so you can have a look, because I know people are skeptical. He's won awards for bone marrow transplants. He does transplants. And he can grow your own cartilage tissue to replace it in your knees. And what his treatments do is kill the stem cells. And this is the first time ever, and it's a breakthrough, that we can actually say that you don't need to die from cancer. It's a very important information, and I want to bring hope, not just hope, but the realization that the world is changing before our eyes, but we have to be willing to accept that this is possible, because so many people are just so like, no, it's not possible. We've become so entrenched in this history. So we've got goodies. I've got 10. Who knows Heather Cancross? I can't say her name. Heather. One of my bestest friends, Heather Cancross. She's an international singer. She lives locally. She sings with the Monteverdi Choir. And Steve Reich is a soloist. Monteverdi is the best choir in the world, it's been claimed. And she sang with the Swingle Singers for 12 years, I think it is. And she has the most outstanding, beautiful voice, but she's worked on Harry Potter, singing, and all these things that you can't imagine, but never done anything herself. And she's done an album with Dave Newton. I don't know if you know Dave Newton, he's 10 times Jazz Pianist of the Year. She's done an album, her first album, and she's given me 10 copies signed by Dave and her for for donations. So we don't have them available yet, but if you're interested in all the goodies, I'd like you to give me your email so I can keep you up to date, so you can actually do that. It's going to be auction items. But I just want to hand over to Robin to talk more about what's possible in your for people.
Thanks, yeah. So I didn't want to say a lot more, but I just want to say that Yes to Life, we're here to support people with cancer directly. That's what we do. We support them with giving them some decent information quickly, putting them in touch with people who can really help them. And there are good people in this country, but they're hard to find, and it's certainly anything but mainstream. The kind of things that happen in Israel are kind of a long, long way from anything available in this country. So, and they cost a lot of money, that's absolutely right, yeah. So, but a huge part of what we're trying to do is actually make people aware of the fact that they have got some choices. It appears in this country, if you go and talk to your oncologist, your cancer doctor, that there's not a lot of choice. You know, here's your program, you start on Monday. And that's really not the case. So that's a massive part of what we do, is to actually let people know that there are a lot of choices for things they can do to aid the treatment they're going to have with the NHS, and also, as we spoke earlier, for people who haven't really got any options for the NHS. So that is the actual situation. So I just wondered, does anybody have anything they'd like to ask while we're here?
Any questions at all? Not for me or Robin at all.
How much are you trying to raise, Lynn?
I'm trying to raise £100,000. So a vaccine, they create a vaccine. I have a piece of my tumour, and if you look at heathercanecross.com, she's written this marvellous blog that explains everything that will blow your mind. And they can create a vaccine in Israel from your tumour, which can actually hunt out the cancer. So they use immune therapy, and they target it in 2 ways. They have 5 other modalities. So a vaccine alone is $34,000. So I might not, and then I need another modality. They're between 20,000 and 300,000. 300,000 being transplants, which I don't need. So I'm thinking the 20 to 50,000 things. So I need 2 modalities plus all the blood tests and follow up and all the things related to that. So I've given myself a £100,000 target. Any money that I don't use, it goes into a personalised account with Yes to Life, which you can create for anyone in your life. And any money that I raise that isn't used will go back into the central account, which everyone can use. And I'm interested in raising more than that. This is revolutionary. Let's have everybody in the UK have choice, more choice. So that's the thing. But initially, I need to raise about £50,000 to start treatment. And I've only just begun, and it's quite critical. I don't have like a year to hang around. I need to do this. So anything you can do. I've got goodies. So I just quickly share some goodies. Wayne has very kindly approached a friend, and there's going to be a sailing day that's going to be on eBay, which is probably worth quite a lot of dosh, but I think the minimum we're going to sort of set it out is about £100. So you can bid for a sailing day out on the oceans on this rather luxurious thing. You could use it for anything at all. I've got the information here about Professor Slavin in Israel. Is anybody here engaged in youth work? Teaching or interested in the youth situation right now? The way that they seem to be a bit lost and, could do with a bit of inspiration and training and development. In my other guise, which is Peace in a Lifetime, I have a partner, which is Peace Jam. Peace Jam are the 10 Nobel laureates. I can't list them all, but it's like the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu and Jody Williams, and all of the Nobel laureates got together and thought, what can we do to help youth? Because of one woman in Denver who they were like fighting and killing each other on the streets. She decided to do something about it, approached the Dalai Lama, and the Dalai Lama said, if you get other Nobel laureates, we'll put a program together. And this is a training. They donated 2 training, Peace Jam online trainings worth $150 each. If somebody, I think teens, I think that teens and adults can train in this, and you can bring a new curriculum to your community or schools. It's absolutely outstanding. It's based upon studying the 10 Nobel laureates' work, what they confronted, in conflict resolution, and they learn how to become peacemakers in their life, and also get a sense of role models and how to be productive in their life. So that's going to be available. And then I'm just going to read the others. There's somebody in Singapore who's donated beautiful photographs. There's a meditation CD by my good friend Julie Mann, who's left, who's the habit fixer, for 5 minutes for donation. Children's treasure hunt party themes that you can download if you're having a party and you want a theme for children, and a guitar lesson with Ricardo Garcia. And I'm also got the Star Wars community, because I was on a collector's card and you can see all the stuff over there. I'm signing autographs for donations. They're managing it. I don't get the money myself, and put that back into the thing. And finally, there's some Christmas cards. This is a painting that I did of Santa Claus about 10 years ago. Put it onto a card, and 50p or something a card, I don't know. Another sort of inspirational card. And one of the things that's been taking a lot of courage, because I don't think of myself as an artist, is that I've brought a portfolio of paintings that maybe inspire you. There's all different styles, from a tree here, you can see that. And there's all sorts of very colourful things in there. I don't know, something for everyone. And if you fancy having some unknown painting, then we can sort that out. Anyway, that's it. I don't want to take the time away from the music. And I think if you want to come and talk to me afterwards, I'm completely open to sharing. Robin, unfortunately, has to go. But in a little while, about 4:30, so, if at any point you want to talk to him. But there's a mailing list. There's a mailing list for the school, there's a mailing list for me, and there's a mailing list for Robin. So, keep in touch. There's a website, kindercancerchoices.me, being built by my friends, where all this information will be. So I'm going to dash now because I feel like I'm taking too much time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.